until that next level of unfolding happens. And even then, you don't get the full story. You get just what you need to handle that leg of the journey. It goes back to what I said yesterday about God coming upon Gideon and saying, okay, you make the first selection. You give the people the ability to turn around and leave those that are afraid to fight these Midianites. And 22,000, 21,000, whatever, leave. And they're left with 10,000. And God says, okay, now I'm going to make this selection. Because all of these people are not what they say they are. They're not being honest with you or with themselves. I need to eradicate all of the fear. And the only way that I do that is by testing a thing. And my tests, they are tests in ways that the enemy can't impose himself in. Because we got a number of variables going on. We got a number of enemies at hand. We got the supernatural enemies that are in the invisible, puppeteering all of this on the, not all of this, but puppeteering things with their minions. And then we got the minions thinking that they're in control. Systems inside of systems. Then we got God controlling all of it. Then we have the children of God moving off of the direction of God. Everybody is doing their own thing, leading to a larger situation. Yet everybody thinks they're doing it on their own. Friend, Joseph would keep going regardless. It was not that Joseph hated his brothers and he wanted to get on their nerves and to harm them. Joseph showed more patience with his brothers than anybody in the Bible, friend. They did wickedness against this man in ways that was just unjustifiable. The time he lost, the discomfort he experienced. You just can't. How do you compensate someone for that? How do you even apologize to someone for that? You never hear his brothers apologizing because I'm sure they probably didn't even know how. How can I apologize for doing something as deviously wicked as that? Wishing that on somebody. All because you can't handle your stuff. You can't handle the truth of yourself and the decisions you decided to make in your life. And because God will send an avatar amongst you to hold you to your decisions, you would do anything to avoid being held to the results of your own decisions. You want to bask in the goodness of the years of all of the wickedness you've done. You want only the goodness. But then when the time comes for you to pay for the wickedness, you'll throw everybody under the bus, your own brother. You'll see the pain in your own father's face because you can't deal with you. The audacity of you. The audacity. And Joseph would get to a place where he would, as most people do when they are moving in alignment with God, he wouldn't hold it against them. How could he do that? Because he saw it already. He was reassured at every new leg of the journey Oh, wow, I remember seeing this. I saw this in a dream too. Okay, this is bigger than my brothers. My brothers don't have any power. God is using my brothers. I'm being used for a larger purpose. There is meaning to this experience, adding purpose to my life. Thus, changing what Joseph could have felt as resentment and as anger and frustration to fascination, intrigue, forcing him deeper in his reliance upon God. He sees potential for something monumental, making life worth living. He's not thinking I'm going to be the king of this place and I'm going to do. He can't possibly have that in his mind. Probably doesn't even want anywhere near that level of responsibility. He's a dreamer. He's a lost in the clouds. I want to kick back and relax and be off to myself kind of person. He does not need the attention. But because he's connected to purpose, he can sacrifice his wants and his desires to set into any role God decides for him. And he will do it with a happy face because he knows he's connected to purpose. He doesn't see it as an inconvenience. He doesn't feel like, oh, these people, I'm going to go get them back because they did this and I'm going to get this. It's not about them. But they think it's about them because they've gone no further than the good old days when they were back in Jacob's house being petty and wicked. They've gone no further. And they won't go any further. It was not Joseph's job to stop the flow of spiritual water in his life, to make his brothers feel comfortable. In fact, it would be against everything that God was looking to do in Joseph's life if Joseph would have allowed that. It was for Joseph to stand in the midst of his brothers and bless them with the information that he had for them, whether they wanted to receive it or not. Because at the end of the day, God's will was going to get done regardless. And if Joseph dropped the ball in doing it, trying to people please his brothers, Joseph would have lost. And God would have done it through somebody else. He would have been no greater than them. And it would have gotten done regardless. That's my message to you. Do not allow your desire to make people happy. I'm the type of person, I want people to feel happy. I can relate to so many people's situations. But I've got to be able to manage my level of relatability. I cannot become a slave or a subordinate to my relatability. I've got to always be the leader with the ability to relate. But I've got to lead regardless.